What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Homie Hangout, where we help others move in excellence. And Haters World and the Suns versus Marvelous and I guess whoever thinks it's okay for a grown man to sleep with a teenager. I don't know. I want to be connected to that camp, right? That seems to be the emerging narrative. That's a new narrative in this very unfortunate saga that's unfolding across YouTube, right? The initial story, the first story is Marvelous, 39-year-old man who happens to preach about values and all this other stuff, sleeps with and has a kid with a 16-year-old girl. And I did a video about that. A million other people did. I have not changed my opinion on that situation at all. I stand on everything I said. I think it is unacceptable for a 13-year-old man to sleep with a 16-year-old girl. I think it is unbelievable that a 13-year-old man has repeat interactions, up close communication with the girl who's 16 and doesn't realize she's too fucking young. And the fact they had a kid together complicates things and makes things worse. But it's wrong across the board, period. And I don't feel like in 2025 this should be a controversial position to take, right? But then I'm going to run you guys through kind of the storyline a little bit, because I think there's dots that maybe aren't getting connected the right way, or missing. There's a missing link in there, right? Of how this story is unfolding. So that's what I want to get to. And to take us back, my understanding at least of how all this unfolds is Marvelous and the Suns have issues, right? Whatever those issues are, they have issues. It's not really relevant to this, conversation. Somehow or another, Suns come in contact with the phone. On that phone are text messages that show Marvelous and this girl communicating and prove that Marvelous has a child with a 16-year-old girl, right? So receipts, if you will, that this dude was an adult sleeping with a child. Those become public, right? I don't know where at or who by or whatever. Those get put out there. I think a couple, content creators do videos about it. And up until that point, I am not aware of any of this, right? As this unfolds, I don't know nothing about nothing. I talked about in my video about the situation where I learned of it, right? I was doing a live. People came on. Hey, Marvelous is live talking about this. And I watched that video after. And my thoughts on that video have not changed, right? It's 2 hours. And most of the video is him, is Marvelous talking about his sons, talking about their mom, talking about all this stuff having to do with their family. And to be quite honest, a whole lot of things that have absolutely nothing to do with him choosing to sleep with a 16-year-old girl when he was 39 years old, right? I don't think anybody is arguing that it didn't happen, right? That Marvelous didn't sleep with the girl, right? Or that the girl wasn't underage, or that Marvelous wasn't an adult. I don't think the facts of that situation are being debated. So all that other stuff of all the family dynamic and this and that and the kids and the cars and the phones and the girls and the security camera footage and the paperwork, and that's all a story, but it's not a story that has anything to do with what he did in the room, right? The last little part of the video is about that. And he brings the girl on and she tells her story and how Marvelous is a victim, which, as I said before, and I stand by, is a crock of shit to view it that way. He is the adult in the room and she is the minor, right? So by default, Holmes, you're not the victim when she's 16, right? But it's his story. He tells it his own way, right? And I had said then, like in my last video, that shit was uncomfortable. I feel like that stuff should be aired out, So the Suns then show up on Haters World. And I have not watched that video. I didn't do the whole kick thing for the live, right? I have seen clips of it and I've heard about it. But full disclosure, I have not watched it. I don't want to watch it. I don't want that much of an inside look into the dynamics of this family. It's If this was a novella or something and we were in the joint and on lockdown, okay, I'd probably watch, right? But they're actors. These aren't actors. These are real life people, real life relationships, and it's just fucking messy, you know. So I haven't watched it, and but again, I've heard enough about it to have an idea of where it goes. And then it's how dare this thing happen? Like it's haters' world's fault now, and I have been accused of a lot of things on the internet, right? People say all kinds of shit about me. I've been called stuff that's not true, right? Including by haters' world, as a matter of fact. One thing that's never been said though is that I defend, Blue Devil. Never been accused of that. And I'm not going to start now. That's not what this is. If I had been in that situation, I would have edited that video at least, right? I would have done different. And do I think there are people, and I'm not naming anybody in particular, but do I think that there are people more interested in this situation because it's a chance to take down Marvelous than it is about the 16-year-old girl who had a baby with him? Yeah. Yeah, I think that is some people's agenda. Does that take away from the fact that what Marvelous did was wrong? No. Right? It's just everybody got their own reason for making the content that they make. And I think that's some people's reason, right? And does he deserve that smoke for some of the shit that he's done? Probably. And so I'm not getting into that. That's not my lane. The point I want to make, though, is why did these sons show up? Why did the hater world video happen? Right? I don't think that haters world was moving heaven and earth to try to find these sons and talk them into coming online. I think we're missing, this is the missing part, the responsibility that Marvelous plays in his sons doing that follow-up, right? That interview with Haters World. Because he said a lot of stuff, bro. Marvelous said a lot of shit in his video. And up until that point, I don't know that the sons had spoken, right? Obviously, the screenshots went out there, and I'd seen the stuff from Instagram or whatever, running up on them and whatever that is, that was out there. But it wasn't some long, drawn-out conversation. It wasn't a story. It wasn't a, let me open up the doors to my household for the world to fucking look at. That's what Marvelous did. Marvelous opened up those doors. And I was kind of reflecting on it today. It struck a nerve. This whole thing has kind of struck a nerve with me, and I've sort of wondered why. But this, my mom, right? And I don't know what's true or not true in their family dynamic of what was said or not said. I don't know. Right? I don't know about that. Speaking about myself, though, my mom's made a lot of mistakes, and at various points in her life, she's been various things. People ask me a lot, hey, why don't you write a book? Why don't you write a book? A big part of the reason is my life story doesn't make as much sense if you don't understand my childhood. But just because I'm comfortable talking about my childhood doesn't mean that everybody who played a role in my childhood wants their story out there. And I respect that, It, regardless of what she has done or mistakes she has made or other people in my family, right? It's not just her. That's not for you to tell. And if somebody was to go online and air that shit out, true or not, we're going to have a problem. We're going to have a problem, right? And I think most of us could relate to that, right? Especially come up with kind of a dysfunctional household or struggle or whatever the case may be. I can have my own views of what goes on underneath my roof, but man, you're talking about my mom at the end of the day. And whatever else, she's my mom. And I'm allowed to be critical. I'm allowed to say whatever, but you're not. You're not. How much more do you have that feeling when it's your fucking dad doing it? Right? It's no secret. My kid's mom and I are divorced. We're not together. I have 3 kids with her, and we co-parent. We've had some issues. right? We've had some issues. We ain't had nothing like shit aired out here, but we've had some issues. We've had some disagreements. Obviously, we're divorced. And some of it, been since then, and the kids and stuff. I'm very cautious. I don't talk shit about my kid's mom around my kids, to my kids. I don't generally talk shit about her anyways, right? But I don't vent about her to them. They'll tell me things sometimes that are going on under their roof, and I'll have some strong opinions, or they'll be a little like, "Oh, ain't that convenient?" Or, whatever reactions. A lot of guys, and I'm sure girls too, but a lot of folks that have kids with somebody that they're not with anymore can relate to that. You hear some shit and you're like, "Okay, well, things have changed," or whatever the case may be, right? I don't tell my kids that though. I don't share that with them. That's their mom. I want them to have a good relationship with her. I know for a fact she loves them. I know that they love her, and I'd never want my issues with her to become their issues with her, right? And I like to say that she feels the same way, although sometimes it's kind of clear she doesn't. But regardless, that's where I come from. That's where I come down on it. And I'm probably not perfect in that regard, but it is something I'm intentional and I'm mindful of, right? Because that is their mom. And what we saw on display in Marvelous's video was as whole as opposite as possible. Okay. And granted, his sons, at least some of them are adults, right? They're older. Apparently, some of them are older than the fucking girl who he had the kid with, which is also just wild. Like, he put her on camera, right? And anyway, so to this point, I think Marvelous opened the door for that. Because if you're sitting back, if you're one of those sons and you're on, I can't imagine being on, so you're watching YouTube, and because you put your dad on blast for something he did, right? For having a kid with a teenager, and so you choose to pull him out there for it, for whatever reason. But it's a fact. You're not fucking lying about him. And now he's up there and reading the letter from the court, and oh, what about this, mijo, when you said this, and they're hanging out with this hood and that hood and these guys, and all this stuff, and the mom, and look who she's with, and I do this for them, and this is what she does. What are you supposed to do to that? As a kid, how do you react to that? I'd be fucking livid. I think it's almost a gift, right? And I don't advocate violence, but it's almost a gift that they chose to go on a podcast instead of go down the street, right? Because things could have gone worse. Like, that's one of the most disrespectful things that you could possibly do. And to be doing that as their father, regardless of how the relationship is fractured, if my kids ever came online and was like, "Oh, I'm gonna tell you about my dad," right? And again, I have zero concerns about the kind of shit that's being said of Marvelous, but if my kids came online and wanted to vent about me and they were mad, right? My fucking dad this, my dad that. Okay. Would it hurt to hear? Sure. Right, sure, I wouldn't like it. And if they exaggerated or put a little extra tapatio on it or whatever, okay. Right? My question is gonna be like, damn, where did I go wrong? That my kids feel like this is the way that they should respond, right? This is the way they should act. That's question number one. My first action is to reach out to them privately. Hey, look, man, I love you. I'm sorry. And I hope that we could talk about this, man. Whenever the time is right for you, I'll make time. What I'm not going to do is do a rebuttal video. I'm not going to get in a fucking social media argument with my kids. I don't care how old they are. 20, 30, 40. I'm not going to do that. I can't. I don't know what goes through somebody's mind when they feel like, oh, well, you made a video about me, I'm going to make a video about you. When it's your child. Like, I get it on YouTube. Right? I get it on YouTube. Motherfuckers making videos about me. I got one coming up pretty soon. I think you guys are going to get a kick out of. Careful what you ask for. You just might get it. But with your own family. Like, this is as intimate as things get. Putting this girl on camera. I was watching a video, I seen a comment, and I liked the channel, and I understood what they were saying. There was a little part of the comment that caught me off guard, so that they made in the video. So I left them a comment. It's all good, right? But in that comment, I had pointed out, dude, imagine being in this girl's shoes, right? She's 16, and her and him get down, right? Her and Marvelous get down. However that happens, it happens. He's at fault for that happening. I don't put blame on her. See, I don't think we should crucify kids for doing kid shit, right? Lying about the age, whatever. If that's true, right? It still doesn't take away responsibility from the adult in the room. But imagine being her. So she has this kid. She's off in some other state, apparently, raising her child, right? Doing her thing. Minding her own business. As far as I know, she's not a content creator, right? She's off minding her own business. And now her face is everywhere. Pictures of her and her kid are everywhere. She's having to get on there and explain. Yes, I was 16. Yes, I already had a tattoo. Yes, I did. Yes, I wanted it. And like, just, I'm sure she didn't wake up excited to have that conversation, and now everybody has an opinion on her. And what was you doing there? And who's at fault? And poor Marvelous, which is fucking crazy to me. And oh, by the way, now your dad's a pediatrician. This child, the father of your child's this and that, and like this is just deeply personal, intimate stuff, man. And again, I have no issue with Marvelous being put on blast for what he did, none at all, right? You come on here, you come on camera, and you make this content. You make yourself vulnerable for people to tell the truth about you, right? And people might lie about you too, but people are going to tell the truth about you. And it's the truth. It is what it is. You made your bed. You got line up. But I don't fault the kids. I don't fault the sons for the Haters World interview. I fault Marvelous for that too. Like, I'm not just looking for ways to put weight on his shoulders. I feel like he's pretty good at doing that himself. But I put that off on him. I don't think, the clip I heard, the kids were saying like, hey man, I don't do this internet shit. I'm not into this internet stuff. I don't got a bunch of followers, whatever. And I just don't know that they go on there and say all the extra stuff that they said and get into that if Marvelous doesn't do the video putting them and their mom and their family shit on blast. It sits out of pocket. Again, if I'm Haters World, I edit that video, right? I probably wouldn't do that live, right? But again, I think it points back to Marvelous. Like, these are failures in parenting compounding on top of each other. Like, if this is how you respond to criticism from your sons, I kind of get why they run to the internet, I don't know. That's my thoughts. I'm curious what you guys think in the comments. I really don't anticipate making another video about this situation. I hope the saga does not unfold anymore, right? My hope is that for the sons and their mom and just their family, that the dust settles. Whatever they gotta repair or heal, work on within their family, cool. I hope everybody stays safe. Hope everybody stays out of jail. I hope the dust settles and they move on to live an amazing life. They got their whole life ahead of them, right? Fuck what I wouldn't give to be in my 20s again, right? I hope Marvelous gets some time off the internet, right? Like, you pretty much crucified by the court of public opinion, and rightfully so. So I don't wish for people's downfall. I've never done that. I do think it's time to take a break from the internet, right? Because people ain't gonna forget this, and this is unacceptable behavior. But more so, bro, you got deeper things you need to worry about. And I think you're gonna watch this video because you watched my other one and left a comment. So if you're watching this, take it for what it's worth, right? Just some dude with a YouTube channel. Take this time away to get some help. To get some help, because this internet stuff is what it is. But your family is your family, right? And that is forever. It Figure this shit out. Figure out where you went wrong, right? First of all, don't fuck teenagers, okay? Just I'll give you the solution to that one right there. That's a freebie. But there's more going on with you. Figure out what that is. Get some healing in your life. And hopefully, if you're lucky, you will be able to get some healing with your sons, right? And then it will be what it will be. That's what I hope happens for this family. But the work starts with you, Marvelous. It doesn't start with them. It's not combating them. It's not responding to them. You're getting into a fucking argument with 20-year-olds on the internet who you, like, those are your kids. It's stupid to argue with 20-year-olds on the internet anyways when you're in your 40s, right? You're not going to win. They're just better at this internet stuff and like, you ain't going to win, homes. You ain't going to fucking win. Just let the kids have their space, right? But also, like, that should be most important. Again, I don't pretend to be the greatest dad in the world. I don't have all the answers. Think I've learned a couple things in life along the way, and some of them the hard way. But this just ain't cool, man. And hopefully all the rest of this stays off the internet. That's my hope, you know. There's plenty of stuff to do. There's plenty of content out there. Like, we're gonna keep going with this story, you know. And yes, I see the hypocrisy in that because here I am making a fucking video about it. But that's it. Help others move in excellence. That's what homies do. Help yourself at the same time because you're worth it. Help your community because they need you. If you want my 2 cents, again, I'll give you a whole nickel. Subscribe to Rascal Reacts. I put content up there just about every day. I've actually done some pretty dope videos over there this past week. So go check it out. Let me know what you guys think, man. Take care.